Hey lovelies, it's Kate. Welcome back to another tutorial. In this tutorial I'm going to explain how you can submerge foundations, and we are going to build a fancy pool using this method. This method was discovered by the talented RGR Gaming. I'm going to link his channel down below, so please make sure to check him out. He has some brilliant ideas and tutorials, so make sure to check out his channel. So the general problem on waterfront lots in Sulani is that you cannot submerge foundations, you cannot build below the water surface. So when you place a foundation and when you click on this arrow and you try to drag it down, it's not working, it's giving you an error. But I'm going to show you how this indeed works. So you click on your foundation and then you go one level up and you press G on your keyboard to toggle the grid. You can see I'm toggling it right now. And you want the grid to be activated. You click on your foundation that you've just built. Then you can simply click on this copy button and you place the foundation up here on the grid. And this is what we got now. Now you click on the foundation at the top. And when you now click on this arrow, you can simply move it down like this. I'm moving it down and I can move it all the way down until it hits the ocean floor basically. And now I could use the sledgehammer tool and remove this. So this is the basic method. This is how it works. But there are a couple of things that you have to keep in mind, and we are going to talk about this right now. So the first thing that you want to keep in mind is that you cannot change the size of your foundation once you have submerged it. So if you want to build a pool, which is exactly what we are going to do now, you have to determine the size and the shape of your pool right away. I'm going to build it back here because the water is super deep over here, so that's a good look. And I want this to be my pool, for example, in this case. I have now determined the size of the pool and I won't be able to really change it, so you have to make a decision beforehand. Keep that in mind. So once again, I'm clicking on this, I copy it, I activate the grid, I go up and I place it on top of the grid. And as you can see now, this doesn't line up, and this happens all the time when you place it, but this is not a problem at all. If you want to keep the ceiling, just click on the arrows and move it in place so it lines up. And now I can click on this area and you can now determine the wall height. So this of course determines how deep your pool will be. You could also change this later, but we're going to make a decision now. So I want to use the short wall height because this is the best look, because the pool isn't that deep and it's submerged in the ocean, and it just looks really good because a big part of the pool is going to be submerged. I can totally recommend this for building a pool. And now I add the pool. So I can add the pool over here because this is not the ground level at the moment. This is technically just another story, and we have been able to do this right from the start. But of course we are going to use our little trick now and we are going to move it down and submerge it. So I left a little section of the ceiling or of the floor over here. This is because I figured when you build the pool in the whole area, you cannot move it down, then it's just a normal pool. But we have kept a piece of the foundation that we have copied and placed on the grid, so I can just click on it and I can move it down just as I've shown you, and I go as low as possible. And now I can use the sledgehammer tool to simply remove the sections down there. And now I click on this area here and I use the arrows to just kind of pull this into this direction. And now I can use this area to simply attach a house, for example. But first we are going to add a bit of color and a couple of windows. So this tutorial is base game and island living compatible, so you can simply use some base game windows for this, but I'm going to use some spa day windows. And now you can simply add a bit of decoration and a pool ladder and build a house. But there is something, once again, that you should generally keep in mind. So now I'm going to build another area over here. So once again, I'm placing this on top And now when I want to submerge this, it's much better to build whatever you want to build on top beforehand. So once you have submerged it, you can only add a wall or a fence by clicking on this and just selecting what you want. But it's much easier, I'm going to undo what I did now, to just build whatever you want to build beforehand. So let's say you want to add this fence. And here you want to add a wall, and then you add this is just random. I'm just explaining you how this works. And now I can also just submerge it, and it's down here. And this of course looks super weird. So now we are going to build something that makes a little more sense. So you could, for example, because I think that it looks super fancy, you could use this round foundation here. It's the rounded deck, and you want to use one of the decks that already have a fence attached to them. So one of these, and not this one of these. So now I have placed it. I use the sledgehammer tool to remove the fence, and now I make it smaller on these two sides. Making it small on both sides is important, because otherwise you won't have a beautiful perfect circle. So I copy this. I have a perfect half circle, I copy the half circle, and of course I have a perfect circle. So now I can once again copy this and I place it on top of the grid, just as we've done before. This doesn't line up once again, but it doesn't matter because we're going to get rid of the ceiling either way. So now I apply a foundation color and I want to apply a bit of grass, and now I will build a couple of rocks. And I'm also going to add the wonderful island living flowers and bushes and all the stuff that we got in this pack, because I think they're super beautiful. And now I click on the ceiling, and once again I just submerge it. I use the sledgehammer tool and I get rid of it. And this way you can build some very creative underwater areas. Of course, this is just a random example. You could build anything. You could also build something like this. It doesn't have to be round, but you could build a lot of different things with this. Another thing that you can do is building a foundation. Then you once again copy it. I'm going to activate the grid. I copy this and I place it on top. Sometimes you kind of have to find the correct spot or it's not. Okay, this works. So now I can click on this and I can bring this down only a little bit. So now I can find the sweet spot so that it's kind of lining up with the water surface perfectly. You could use this to create proper infinity pools. I've made a tutorial about infinity pools, but if you combine it with this method, you can kind of really make the foundation just as high as the water surface, and I think it looks super amazing. Once again, I can just get rid of this. And then you can, of course, up here, for example, you can just build a house. You could also, if you want to connect this area up here with a regular piece of foundation, you could simply build a piece of foundation over here. And then you can connect them with some stairs. So you have to find the right height so it actually works. So the height difference here is not big enough. So let's say I just make this a bit higher. And now I can attach some stairs, and now you can just work with a regular foundation over here. You could even apply the new stilt foundation. So if you don't want to have some type of floating section, because otherwise if you just expand this area and build on it, technically a part of the house would be floating. But this way you can just attach a regular foundation and combine it. And of course the same goes for this area. We can simply connect two foundation heights with some stairs. As long as you leave one grid in between, that's not a problem. And this is it, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much to RGR Gaming for this ingenious method that I was able to use for these pools. It's just super amazing. And please let me know in the comments down below, what are you going to build with this method? I cannot wait to hear what kind of crazy ideas you guys are going to have. I'm sure that you will build the most amazing stuff with this method. So thank you for watching. I hope you have an amazing week, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.